In this challenge, we're going to be taking a look at the tip calculator. So open Filebase, download the tip calculator, pause the video if you'd like to test that out yourself, and then come back and see if your solution is what I came up with. Maybe you have a different solution, and that's totally okay. So let's check this out. We're going to create a program that's going to calculate the preferred tip for a dinner bill. So for example, your meal cost is $20. You have 3 suggested tip values, 15, 20, and 25%. And then we need to be able to support a custom percent tip. Now, when you approach a problem like this, you have to understand that the program doesn't know what a tip is. It doesn't know what a bill amount is. So here, I'm already going to have predefined a tip amount. Also, we have a dinner bill. So private float dinner bill. We don't know what that is. You as a programmer define what a dinner bill is. I'm defining what a tip of 15% is. And then of course I would add a tip for 20 and 25%. And we'll take a look at an optimization technique in a moment. But here I have my dinner bill, my tip 15. And what about the tip? The actual processing of the tip, right? Our program has no clue what that is. And that's gonna be calculated. So here we're basically gonna say void start. We're gonna calculate the dinner bill. So here the dinner bill is going to equal whatever we pass in through the inspector. So for now we'll set it to 20 by default. All right, and then our tip 15 is equal to 0.15, and then we actually have our tip value. So our tip is going to be calculated by basically saying, hey, the tip is equal to the dinner bill multiplied by whatever we're calculating. So if we're doing tip 15 first, then this is going to be the dinner bill. So if the dinner bill was, say, $20 and we did tip 15, this should be $3. Okay, so let's go ahead here. We can save this, that's our tip, and let's just print that out. So here we're just going to say debug.log your tip for the dinner bill. Let's see here, let's go ahead and say your dinner bill is, and we'll append the dinner bill. Your dinner bill is $20, and let's go ahead and say here debug.log your tip is, and let's calculate the tip, which we just did. So here's our underscore tip. And then let's say here we wanted to know the total. So your tip is, and let's say debug.log total is what? It's your tip plus the dinner bill. And we can actually store that in a variable if I wanted to, right? Our program doesn't know what the total is. It's a variable that we can define. So here we can say, hey, private float total bill. And we calculate the total bill. So here we say total bill is equal to the dinner bill plus whatever tip we calculated. We'll save that, come over here, let's grab our total bill. Real quickly, let's go into Unity, click on our main camera, and let's save that. So here we go ahead and run this, and you'll see in the console it says your dinner bill is 20, your 15% tip is 3, total is 23. Perfect. Now what if I wanted to calculate the others? Well, we have 20%, right? And our program doesn't know what that means, so we say tip 20 is equal to 0.2f. And then let's assume here we had tip 25. And we'll take a look at optimization here in just a moment. So tip 25 is equal to 0.25f. Now, you can already recognize with this approach that what if I wanted to include support for 30, 35, 40, 45%, all the way up to 100? I have to create a new variable every time, and that's crazy, right? So let's take a look at what happens if we solve this to spec though, right? So right now it says, okay, we got 15%, let's do 20 and 25, and then let's talk about the custom one. So here I calculated the first one, and then they're called variables because they can vary. So here we can just calculate the new one. We're gonna say, okay, the next one is going to be your dinner bill is still 20, and your tip for 15% is, and then we pass the tip. So here total, and then let's go ahead and do another one here. So we're going to say, hey, the tip is equal to the dinner bill. We're reassigning it times the tip 20 value now, and then we're just reassigning the variables. So here your tip for 20%. So this is going to be for 20% is that tip, which is reassigned here, right here. And then we can calculate the total. So again, we're going to calculate the total by recalculating, repurposing this variable. So total bill is equal to the dinner bill plus the tip, the newly modified tip amount. All right, and that's the 20% one. And then I can literally copy all of this. We can do it one more time. This is for the 25% tip, change this to 25, and we should be okay. Let's save it, and we should see 3 dinner bills get printed out. And here we go. So 20, 15 is 3, 23, 20, 20% is going to be $4, that's correct, and 25% is going to be $5, and that's correct. Now, if we wanted to support a custom value, how would we go about doing that? You have to remember that our program doesn't know what a custom value is. What is a custom tip amount? It's something that I can insert. So here, we define what a custom tip amount is. So private float custom tip %. And then we can fill that in via the inspector. And for the custom tip, we simply just duplicate all this again. We repurpose the values. So here, the tip is equal to the dinner bill multiplied by whatever my custom tip is. And then here, your tip for the custom %. So we will actually say plus custom %. And then is that amount. So dinner bill times custom tip %, and then here the total bill equals the total. Let's save it. Let's go ahead here and let's put like 0.38%. So here, custom tip, 0.38. 0.38, and run the game. And then here we go. Now, I didn't match the formatting of this correctly, but I think you get the idea. But you can see here that, hey, the total is going to be $27.60 here. Your tip for 0.38 is $7.60. So that's perfect, it works. Now, the downside to this approach is that if I wanted to scale this to say I also want to include a tip for 30%, I have to include a variable every single time. And that's not scalable. You're not going to create a variable every time. So a more optimal solution here is to recognize the duplicated code. What changes throughout my duplications? My logs are the same. The only thing that's actually changing is the tip %. So there's 2 steps to optimization. And if you use these tips and tricks for optimization, you can always get to a more optimal solution. The first part of optimizing your code is code cleanliness. The functionality here is calculating a dinner bill. So let's create that because void start might be cluttered with other things. So let's create a method for calculate tip or calculate bill. And let's paste all of this code inside of there. All right, so inside of here, we have all of our code. And once you have it organized within a method, you can ask yourself a simple question. What can this method accept as a parameter to make this easier for ourselves? And the only thing that changes within this duplicated line of tip, 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 and over is the %. So what if I passed in as a parameter the %? For example, float %. And then here, if I wanted to calculate the tip based on what the % is, the dinner bill is now multiplied by the %. By doing this, I can now say your dinner bill is dinner bill, your tip for the % that we pass in, right? So here, the % is, and then we calculate that tip. And then here it says we calculate the total, and then we print the total. The best part about this is that this is now modular and dynamic. I don't need any of this code. I can completely clean this up to where now I have just 4 lines of code that do everything. We'll save that, and all I have to do now is go into void start and call the calculate bill method. And here I'm going to pass in 0.15f to calculate the 15%, and then I can call 0.2f to calculate the 20%, and the calculate 0.25 for the 25, and then of course calculate bill, and I can pass in my custom tip %. So this is obviously much more scalable. So hopefully you learned something. I can now actually delete these 3 lines of code, and all I need is my dinner bill, my custom tip %, the tip, and the total bill. And here we have a method that can do everything. Let's save this, go back into Unity, and this is truly a most optimal form of how to do this. I'll see you guys in the next challenge next week. And there we go. This prints out, and everything is good.